Hi, this is Mananshal V. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to sharpen images and videos on a separate independent track by using a high-pass filter. The results of sharpening with a high-pass filter are more focused on the edges and less prone to artifacts than doing so with the sharpening presets that come with LumaFusion. Here's a comparison between a high-pass filter results and the LumaFusion sharpening preset. Notice the artifacts when using the sharpening preset. Here's a comparison of the affected areas. And here is a focus on the eyes. Also, with this method, sharpening is independent and separate from color adjustments and other effects that are applied to a clip. This opens the door to new types of effects. Here's an example. Notice that the face is blurred, but the facial details are still well defined. High pass is an edge detection filter. When applied to an image or video, the edges are highlighted while the rest of the image is filled with a middle gray tone. Middle gray sits in the middle between black and white. This means that the red, green, and blue components are all set to 128. When the results of the high-pass filter are blended with the original image using a contrast-boosting blend mode, such as overlay, the edges of the original image are highlighted with contrast, while the middle gray colored parts remain unchanged. This increased contrast along the edges of the image is perceived by the brain as sharpening. The more contrast is added along the edges, the sharper the image will look. Before diving into LumaFusion, I would like to thank Yami, a viewer of this channel, for asking me to look into this sharpening method. For this tutorial, I'll be using this video. For most of the tutorial, I'll be working on this single frame of the video, because sharpening effects are easier to spot on a still image. With that said, I'll show you how the same method applies to video. We start in LumaFusion with 3 copies of the selected frame of the video. The timeline also contains a title with a middle gray colored circle partially covering the screen. Let's start by creating the high-pass filter. As a reminder, we are looking to have the edges highlighted while the rest of the image will show as middle gray. Stack the first 2 identical images, one above the other. Edit the topmost image. Add the original preset and reduce the saturation to 0. Now add the Box Blur 20 preset. And change the radius to about 10. Next, change the blend mode to difference. Exit back to the timeline. Now edit the bottom image in the stack. Add the original preset and reduce the saturation to 0. Exit back to the timeline. Place the title with a middle gray circle above the 2 images in the stack. Edit the topmost image again. Expand the original preset. Using the circle as a reference, start increasing brightness until the predominant background color is middle gray. Exit back to the timeline and delete the title with the circle. Take a snapshot of your progress. If you were doing this for video instead of for a still image, at this point you'd export the video instead of taking a snapshot. Add the snapshot to the project and place it to the right of the stack that you created earlier. Edit the snapshot and add the invert preset. This will invert only the edges because middle gray sits exactly in the middle of the color range. At this moment, the high-pass filter result is ready. The edges are highlighted and the rest of the image is colored middle gray. Add the original preset. In the next steps, we'll use the contrast to adjust the level of sharpening. Keep it unchanged for now. Exit back to the timeline. Move the filter result that you just edited and place it above the next still frame in the timeline. Edit the filter result and change the blend mode to overlay. As you can see, there is already some sharpening noticeable, especially around the eyes. Let's increase contrast to further sharpen the image. Now the effect is more visible. You can also blur the image by inverting the filter results. If you need to further sharpen the image beyond what increasing contrast allows, collapse the original preset and then add another instance of it to the clip so you can keep increasing contrast. This ability to add multiple instances of the same preset was added to LumaFusion in version 3.1. So this is it for this episode. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to this channel, give it a like and click on the bell so you are notified when I post new videos. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.